...2021 Kawasaki Versys 650 review. The Versys 650 remains largely untouched for 2021, still carries massive road presence. The Kawasaki Versys 650 has been in our market for about half a decade now, and it has been a great option in the touring space since. The Japanese giant has shown belief in the model, and has launched its BS6 or 2021 model in India recently. For 2021, Kawasaki has left the 650 relatively untouched, and it's largely because the package was already pretty neat. However, times have changed, and so have the expectations of the ideal customer. Recently, we got to ride the 2021 Versys 650, and we tried to find out whether it is still a good option for the touring bug in you and whether it justifies the hike in the price. Here's what we think about it. Styling. The Kawasaki Versys 650 has been a good-looking, radical and sporty tourer offering since 2015, and it has kept roughly the same design for 2021. The bike looks exactly how it used to in its BS4 iteration, and this has its own positives and negatives. Starting with the good bit, the 2021 Versys 650 is probably the most radical touring bike on offer in India, and it gives its competition a good run for their money, worldwide as well. The twin headlamp setup along with the air cutouts, sporty fairings, long suspension, and the glossy green accents, make the Versys 650 excellent to look at. Performance. For 2021, the Kawasaki Versys 650 gets the same 649cc parallel twin motor, which now meets the BS6 norms. Talking numbers, this motor makes 66 PS of peak power and 61 Nm of peak torque. Compared to before, the 650 has lost about 3 PS of power, and about 3 Nm of torque, which is not uncommon in these strict norms. However, this isn't too evident once things get into motion. The motor feels butter smooth from the get-go. The torque is well distributed throughout the rev range, but if you're looking for a kick-in-the-pants fun, the Versys misses out on it. This is primarily because the motor feels linear and pulls throughout from as little as 2,000 RPM. Engine characteristics of the Versys are pretty versatile for a middleweight adventure tourer motorcycle. A pro is that this makes the motor very versatile in the city as well as the highway. Mated to the motor is the same slick 6-speed gearbox from before, and it gets a slipper clutch too. However, we found the clutch a little hard for our liking, especially in city commuting. Among other things, the Versys does a decent job at keeping its temperament as we didn't face any heating issues. The top speed of the bike is around 170 km per hour, and it takes 5.4 seconds to reach a ton. Lastly, the bike returned 21 km per liter during our test, which rounds the total range to about 400 km for the massive 21-liter fuel tank. Instrument cluster and switchgear. Like the aesthetics, the instrument cluster and switchgear of the 2021 Versys 650 remains exactly the same as before. Right in front of your eyes is a semi-digital cluster with an analog tachometer which enthusiasts will dig. Underneath the tacho is a small LCD display which shows information like real-time mileage, eco mode, range, clock, gear position, trip meters, odometer and the obvious, speed. The setup is pretty basic and feels old, especially in these modern TFT times. The story is the same for the switchgear, as it sees no update and gets basic switches along with a hazard light switch. Even though the quality levels are good, this is one criterion where we felt the Versys shows its age, and it could definitely use an update here.